Hello, everybody, once again to the Multiverse mic, where we bring you all things nerd and nerd fandom. We're talking games, we're talking movies, we're talking all your nerdy niches. My name is Taylor, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Brian.
Hello, hello.
And Jacob.
Hi.
And today we're bringing it back to Nostalgia Land with all of our favorite consoles and games of the past. Brian, how about you start us off with your first console?
Well, I remember when I was probably around 6 or 7 years old, my dad brought home an NES, and he had, 4 or 5 games. I can't remember all of them they had in there. One of them was the old school WrestleMania game, and then we had a Donkey Kong Jr. combination game, and my favorite.
I've never heard that one.
Which is the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt combo game. So I don't have a ton of memories from that age playing games, but I do remember playing Super Mario Brothers with my mom and just being amazed at how she could actually jump over the Goombas because I had no idea what I was doing. It took me a bit to figure it out, but I love Duck Hunt. And I spent a lot of time playing that. I was terrible aim at it, but it just blew my mind that this little fake gun could shoot the screen and actually have a response to it. So, again, not a ton of memories from that console, but I do remember really, really enjoying that and playing a ton of that.
All right. Yeah, the NES had to be probably the first one there for me too. The only one I really remember out of it that really left an impression on me was that dual Super Mario and Duck Hunt, the double game. But, there was the shooting of the ducks. That's really what I think stood out to me the most during that, the most memories out of that, playing that with my dad.
Your first
and that dog
killing
laughing at you
experience.
every time you miss.
I hate that stupid dog.
The first humiliation. Yeah, no,
Jacob.
I same NES. I don't know. It was young enough to where I remember playing it, but also to where the point, I don't know where it came from. Like it was just in our house. It wasn't like they brought it home one day that I can remember. I just remember it being there and playing it, but we had quite a few games. Looking back, I was kind of like for the time, I mean, maybe it was because other stuff was coming out and maybe they were cheaper. My mom, purchased a bunch, but yeah, Duck Hunt was one, the split one. So like the Duck Hunt, Mario Bros. There definitely was a football game in there. I don't know if it was it was just like, it wasn't before Madden. So it was like NFL something. It was really like throwing a block, catching it with another block. And then I remember this NHL game that I had, and I remember it vividly because it made like the slapping noise whenever you like hit the puck, but it was more of this like, like an NES noises were.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think obviously the one that stood out the most was Mario. Like I remember playing that and also being frustrated with the Goombas and then just falling into things. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brian, what about your next one?
Well, moving right along the timeline. So I have actually a very vivid memory of this, of getting my first Super Nintendo. So I think I was probably I think I was maybe in second or third grade, but I remember being at my grandma's house for Christmas and our family went over there and I'd been asking my mom for a second remote for the Nintendo. And I remember opening one of the presents and it was a remote for a Super Nintendo. I'm like, Mom, you got the wrong one. And I was disappointed. And then we opened our big present and we got a Super Nintendo for Christmas that year. And it was in the package with Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's not my choice, but that's my memory. I remember getting the Super Nintendo for the first time. No, my favorite Super Nintendo game is Super Mario RPG. And I think I've mentioned this in a past episode, but this is something that was my first introduction to RPGs. And I had no idea what I was doing the first 10 times I played it. But I remember I kept renting it from the video store and I just kept replaying the same like first 2 levels over because that's all I could really get through at the time. But I've come to love that game and I replay it on my phone probably once a year. I got it again for the Switch recently when they did the re-release, and I just love playing through that. I beat that game more than anything else, any other games I've played. But yeah, that's my number one Super Nintendo game.
I actually didn't own a Super Nintendo, so I'm going to pass this one back over to Jacob. Yeah,
Yeah, well, okay. Super.
I didn't have one.
No, but the Super Nintendo was awesome. Like I do remember. I wouldn't say I think it was just one day the NES was gone, and I was like, "What is this?" And my mom's like, "It's the next one." So I remember playing Super Mario World. I believe that's the first time they introduced like you hopping onto Yoshi.
Right. Yeah, that was the launch game for the SNES.
Yes, that I loved that game, and that was like first time too where like I really did notice when people talk about like graphics, especially for that time period, like, oh wow, look, you can see like, but you could the big deal was like seeing the definition of Mario's like face, and it's not just like a block nose and a block mustache. It was like, oh my goodness, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I think that one's the most vivid that I can think of. I know RPG. I played that at a friend's house on the Super or on the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I didn't know what I was doing because I was too young. So it was really like a button masher. I didn't realize it was always turn based. I was like, why are we taking turns? Why are we not smashing this thing? But yeah, no, I would say Super Mario World.
If I remember right, I mean, I obviously played the console at a friend's house and stuff, but was there Donkey Kong Country? Is that what?
Yeah.
That was there.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you.
That
one
was probably
was
most memorable. I remember going over to my friend's house like every day during the summer, and we would play that game every day. And,
that classic soundtrack too.
Oh my gosh!
Like once you
So
hear that, yeah.
I think that's the first game I ever actually beat all the way through.
Really?
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah. That was close up there for me. Super Mario RPG edged it out just a little bit, but that Donkey Kong was a really close second for me. So next up in chronological order, I remember getting a Game Boy Color. So that was my first Game Boy, and we got that at launch because the Pokemon games had just come out, and they could take advantage of having a little bit of the color on the screen. I remember playing my friend's Game Boy, and there was no color on it. That's where I got introduced to Pokemon. But then I got the Pokemon Blue or Red, I believe. It's been a while, but there was little shades of red on the screen for the Game Boy Color. I think that's maybe the only game I ever had for the Game Boy Color. But we took a family road trip, and we got those games just so we had something to do while we were driving out of California.
I didn't have a color, but I actually had the OG Game Boy, and funny enough though, I had Pokemon Silver.
Nice.
So yeah, it was kind of just a situation, but yeah, Pokemon Silver is probably the game. I mean, I played that thing nonstop. I would beat it and then just restart and do it again, all again, just keep going. I love that game.
Well, going next in order for me, and I know it's not chronological of when the consoles were released, but I had a Nintendo 64 was my next console, and I had another tough one trying to decide on this one too between GoldenEye and Super Smash Brothers. But I think I got a lot more miles out of Smash Brothers. The OG game, I played that thing so much. I don't even know how many hours I lost to that game. Just me and a couple friends would get together and always just have battle royals, and that game still, going back to the original, still has a lot of fun.
So sorry, that was that 64 for you?
Yeah, that was 64.
So did the Sega Genesis come out first?
It did, but I never had a Sega.
So I had a Sega Genesis, and I probably the Sonic, the first one that had the first and the second one. So the one just Sonic. I don't think I ever beat it. I was really young, but the Sonic 2, I know I did beat that one with Tails. All right, sorry for those technical difficulties. We were talking about the Sega Genesis. So yeah, Sonic 2, I remember beating that one for sure, and I remember trying everything I could to try and play Tails because it was so different from the first one. I would actually plug in both controllers and then just control Tails and just kind of bring Sonic along for the ride.
Nice,
but
that's awesome.
And then NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat, playing both those with my dad. The NBA Jam, trying to do everything he could to break the glass and the
nice, yeah,
and behind the hoop there. Jacob, do you have a Sega Genesis? Or?
I actually did. No, yeah. I did, and actually that one I forgot all about that one. I think, but the thing that obviously stood out was Sonic the Hedgehog for me, but because that one is something I would just play constantly. But I forgot about NBA Jam. I did have that one. I wasn't good at it, just like most sports games. But yeah.
And you guys are making me feel left out here. What about your 64 picks?
Yeah, so for 64, I think one that I always found myself going back to was Ocarina of Time. And
good call.
And Star Fox 64.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So those two I always found myself going back to. I remember Star Fox 64, what was so interesting about it was the different paths you could take to beat the game. It felt like it wasn't a linear game, so you weren't playing the exact same way every single time. And
pretty unique for that time.
It was very unique, and I love the map that it would show you. You could get secret endings and all this stuff.
Yeah, that was cool. Like hearing about that and finding the secret endings from other people. They're like, you know about the secret ending? You're like, what? There's a secret ending?
How about Mario Party for you guys?
Mario Party is a lot of fun. I played that a lot. I still think that Super Smash Bros. Was better.
Oh,
I had a lot more
Yeah.
fun with that too. But yeah, no, our family played a lot of Mario Party.
I unfortunately never owned Super Smash Bros., but anytime I got a chance to play it, I would beg my friends if we could play that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to play that game so badly.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mario Party, the original had those mini games where you had to rotate the joystick as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever get the blisters on the palms of your
I was
hand?
gonna say,
Yeah.
Did you put it right dead center?
Yep.
My mom was like, "What is wrong with you?" She'd just look at my hand, going, "Why?"
Yep. The only game that requires safety gloves.
Right? I wore out controllers with those stupid mini games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you get the
You gotta play
controller where the
something else.
joystick just kind of
It's just
lays
like
over the
that.
Oh, yeah,
side.
you know that's a Mario Party controller.
Right.
Yeah.
About Mario Kart 64.
That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get onto Mario Kart until a little bit later on.
Okay.
Well, other consoles, right? I played Mario Kart 64. I played Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart on the SNES.
Mhm.
But I didn't really start becoming like a real fan of the games until the later consoles.
Oh, yeah. Mine was
So-
definitely 64.
Yeah, exactly. So 64, I found myself actually, it's one of the first games I got really good at. And I can say I found out I was really good at it based on just whenever I play with my friends, I was always first or second, I was never behind that for Mario Kart 64. Other past, newer games, not as good at, but 64. Oh. All right, we're back. Sorry about that again.
So yeah, going back to the Mario Kart, did you ever do those party games? Like, so you were like almost like a versus between you and three other friends that were like split screen. So you're like really
yeah, of
just
course.
more of an arena.
The battle games, yeah.
The battle games, yeah.
I
And you were
forgot
just,
about
like,
those.
finding your friends and like firing stuff at them. That was so much fun. My brother and I would do
The
that for
balloons.
hours.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a blast.
All right, let's move on to our next console.
Yeah.
So the 64, I remember getting that in elementary school still. And then in high school, I got my first PS1 the same year that the PS2 came out because my uncle got the PS2 and gave me his PS1. So that's when I started getting introduced to those games. And then I can't even remember what games I had. It was just a bunch of like weird random games that I got from him at first.
Sure.
But Chrono Cross, I remember being my favorite. So that's when I really started getting into RPGs. So I remember seeing that from a friend. Did you guys ever play Chrono Cross?
No, what is that?
I didn't.
So it's kind of like a pseudo sequel to Chrono Trigger, but not really a sequel. It's just like there's lots of subtle hints to the original game, but the original doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with the sequel in a weird way. But I remember something really cool about the game is there was a whole bunch of multiple endings depending on different choices you took in the game. But there was also like 40 different playable characters, which I thought was just
Jeez Louise.
something crazy, because you can only have a party of 3 characters. But depending on who you recruit, it would take you on different paths in the game and steer you down different endings. But recruiting some characters would completely exclude other ones from being part of your group. So you'd have to play through it multiple times to actually use all the characters and see their stories. So yeah, that was my favorite PS1 game.
That kind of helps create like a lot of playability for a game.
Right.
Having that many characters and different endings and different storylines. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, especially for PlayStation 1.
What was that called again?
Awesome.
Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross.
I've heard of it. Never played it
that
though.
down. That's
Yeah,
was
I went
Chrono
back and
Trigger.
played it again a couple years ago, and it still holds up pretty well.
Was there a remake later?
I don't think
That
so.
sounds really familiar. Oh, okay.
all right. So that's PS1.
Yeah, that was PS1.
See, PS1 is another one I didn't ever own, but my neighbor had one, and so I'd go over to his house a lot and play that.
That's cool.
You know, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really the only 2 games he had. So we just kind
I
of
say, yeah, those 2 are the ones that stood out for me the most
Yeah.
because that's all I can kind of remember with PlayStation 1. I think there might have been because my uncle was the one that bought it for us, and he was really into because he was in the military, so he liked war games, so like Medal of Honor and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't Medal of Honor, but it was something like that. And then for PlayStation 2, when we get to that was one of those. But yeah, no, definitely Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Spyro was one of the bigger ones because even my mom loved playing that game. But yeah, I really liked that one a lot too.
Well, speaking of PS2, I remember I only had the PS1 for maybe a year or so before we actually saved up money to buy the PS2. So I got the PS2, and my favorite game, this kind of goes back to my memories of playing PS1 over my uncle's house. So he had Tekken, like the original Tekken.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed playing that. And so when I got a PS2, I got Tekken Tag Tournament. And I played that game so much to the point of I could just hit random, and whatever character popped up, I could beat you playing with that character. I put way too much time into learning how to play that game.
That's awesome.
And I still remember some of the combos to this day, which is odd because I can pick up some of the newer games and some of the characters have the same combos. So yeah, Tekken Tag Tournament is the one for me. I almost said Final Fantasy X, but I think I played way more of Tekken Tag Tournament. So that's my number one pick on the PS2.
All right. I think next, I didn't have a PS2, but my uncle, who just a couple of years older than me, honestly more like a brother, we played a lot of Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings co-op game.
Right. The Two Towers?
And yes.
That was a great game. I forgot about that.
That was a really good game. I would always play Legolas because of his daggers. And that's how I learned about his daggers. Honestly, yeah, that was fun. But he's kind of a brute. But
fun story about that game. So that game came out because the Lord of the Rings movies came out in 01, 02, and 03. So they filmed them back to back, and they came out in those 3 consecutive years. So not too long after the Fellowship came out, they released the Two Towers video game. Because I don't think there was a Fellowship game. They just did the Two Towers. Right. But in that game, they had some cutscenes from the movie. And so I remember the second that game came out, getting it so I could play through and see the cutscenes so I could get any preview I could of the next movie that was coming.
That's awesome.
Anyways.
Yeah, that game was a classic. But PlayStation 2, how long... You know how consoles have slowly just been, it feels like anyways, you have some consoles that are out for not very long and then all of a sudden they have the second one or the third one. I feel like PlayStation 2 was in my life for a long time. I couldn't afford the PS3, so I had that for many years, the PlayStation 2, but then they had a slimmer PlayStation 2. I remember getting something like that from my uncle, but definitely the biggest one for me was Kingdom Hearts. But that's just because I, picked it up from the rental store when we used to be able to do that. And I just played it one time and I was like, I have to get this game because it just looked weird to me because it looked like some kind of anime character, or someone from, Final Fantasy and then fighting alongside Goofy and and Donald. And I thought that was so weird. And I was like, this isn't going to be a fun game, is it? And then I picked it up and started playing it. I was like, I can't put this down. This is so sick. Even describing to someone, I'm like, yeah, you're this character fighting along with Donald Duck and Goofy, and you have this big key. It's not a sword, it's a key, but it's called the Keyblade, but it's this thick key, and you're hitting these things with, and they're like, okay. But it's like one of those, you had to be there, you gotta play that game. But
and don't you have one on your wall?
A huge one. Yep. They do have one on my wall, a Keyblade and a Master Sword.
You're welcome.
No idea how to fit this in picture. Everything all this crud hanging.
It'll be up behind you in the next one.
Right.
Exactly.
that's a game I actually didn't play until I was honestly a couple of years ago. It's a game I wish I had a PlayStation 2 to have had a chance to play when I was younger.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of clips from it, from those gaming TV shows, and it always came up as a game that will last forever kind of thing that is never going to get old.
Right.
And I remember I won a PlayStation 2 in a contest a couple of years ago.
What?
Yeah. And it was one of the silver ones, the like special edition silver ones. Yeah.
Nice.
And one of the games that came with it was the Kingdom Hearts. So I finally got a chance to start playing it. That's cool. I liked it so much I decided just to get it for my PlayStation 5 as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
So for me, kind of go in order of consoles again. So I had the PS2 that was probably my only console that I had for about a year. And then my friends started getting me interested in the Xbox, and I had no desire to ever get the Xbox. But then I started hearing about Knights of the Old Republic. And so I buy my Xbox, and I got to say, it was this close to being my number one game on this list for the Xbox, but it's not actually. And this game, I may have played this game more than any other game ever. It's Morrowind.
Okay.
So another one of my friends told me about just this crazy game. I remember him trying to sell it to me like, you start the game off weak and you have to level up. And he said that you've got no combat skills at the beginning. So he was telling me about how he went into a shop and tried to fight an old lady and got killed.
That's a good way to pitch it.
That's my earliest memory of hearing about the game. So I got it, and I just couldn't believe the open world aspect to that scale.
Yeah.
Right. Because there had been a couple games like Grand Theft Auto 3 and things like that had, a pretty open world, but Morrowind just blew my mind with how much there was to do and how much freedom you had to just go and explore and just all the random things you could find and stumble across. So I remember coming home after school and I would turn on my Xbox and just play until bedtime. And that's all I did. I don't even know how many hours I played of that game, but it's an all-time great for me.
Yeah, Xbox was kind of a big one. I think that was kind of my next one was the original Xbox.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more. It was that one. That was where Medal of Honor became a big deal. And I think Call of Duty. I think that was like one of the first Call of Duties were for like PlayStation 2. I think. I don't quite remember. I thought it was PlayStation 2 and Xbox, something like that. It was just Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But and then my uncle would go between those two because it was really obviously more story based. Multiplayer was more split screen if you want to do that with someone sitting next to you. But I had to say Medal of Honor had a pretty cool story because you're starting on the boat, and that's when like Pearl Harbor, and you're having to survive getting through like one of the naval ships. It was pretty intense too for that time. Like looking back, if you like looked up graphics and stuff like that, you're like, oh, it's not. I mean, it looks okay, I guess. But yeah.
Looks good at the time, but doesn't hold up so well today.
That beginning though has, it was everywhere on, everyone's talking about it. Start off right in the action, just boom, you're there. That is your tutorial. You're on Normandy. You just boom.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's crazy.
For me, for the original Xbox, I had Halo 2, those, yes, I loved those games. Tiger Woods, I think 2004 was a big one. I played it a lot. I always made myself super beefy characters, big long flowing red hair. But the game has to be, for me, it has to be Knights of the Old Republic for that game. That game was another one of those that I remember playing it and getting to the end or to the twist, that you are Revan, and then just what? Oh my God! I've been Revan the whole time.
Yes.
How did I not know?
wonder everybody hates me.
And just doing full light side playthroughs, full dark side playthroughs, and it was just such a great game.
Yeah, still holds up well to this day, even.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I said in the previous one, I still that's one of those like you said with what game was that you play once you That
RPG.
Oh, Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, you play at least once a year. You know, that's one of those I play once a year, and that's
Mhm.
because I have to. It's just like I have to get that out of my system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So, kind of next in line, and this is a console I never owned, but it was the GameCube. Do you guys have any preferences on GameCube games?
You know, I think the only GameCube game that I played was actually I played it on the Wii, but it was Zelda Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah. No.
Oh, was that a
I-
GameCube game?
it was a GameCube
Yeah,
game.
it was.
Okay,
And
I played that on the
then
Wii too.
And
they
then
re-released
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
on the Wii.
Yeah, I think Wind Waker was one of the big ones for me on that. But I also had that Star Fox game where you can get out of your ship and you're running around and have the staff for some reason. Like I don't remember much of it, but I just remember it being a frustrating game. But definitely Smash Brothers Melee, like that was a big one that I liked playing with friends when they came over. But probably like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, one of those two, both Zelda games, but both of them were awesome. I did like the fact that you could sail kind of a little. I mean, it's pretty open world, but yeah, those were great. Yeah.
Now, Wind Waker, that was one of the first like for those style of games, Nintendo games especially, where they kind of started dipping their toes into open world concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you could go in any direction.
They had like
with,
islands and stuff like that. That was kind of cool.
You know, you could try to do it in Ocarina of Time, but really you had to go on a certain path to do it correctly. Otherwise, you'd get to a point you'd be stopped because you'd have to go back and get a certain object and go back.
Right.
Finish. With Wind Waker, you could kind of get away with doing it, your own way.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I hear good things about that, but I never played it myself.
You didn't.
No, but moving on next to the Xbox 360. We still got a few consoles to get through here. We want to kind of try to speed through this if we can. Xbox 360 is where things kind of changed for me as a gamer. I spent a lot of hours playing things like Forza, playing Skyrim, but the thing that really changed games for me was Mass Effect, and I'm doing this as like the whole trilogy. So that first Mass Effect kind of blew my mind the first time I played it. And Mass Effect 2, I still think is one of the best games ever made. Those games hold a special place in my heart. I know that a lot of people, once you got to the end of the third one, like I kind of ruined it for them. But I can go back and play the entire trilogy still today. I still get a lot out of it. I've loved playing those games. It holds a real special place in my heart because that's, I think, the first time that I really saw that storytelling could be such an impactful part of playing games. So Mass Effect 2 specifically, but I'm going to say the entire trilogy for me is my number one for the 360.
For me, number one for the 360. 360 is where I kind of started getting truly introduced to online gaming for consoles.
Yeah.
And so the biggest one to start off, when I first got my 360 was a Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. In my opinion, the best Call of Duty made, just because of how well the online feature was. I think they were updating things. There was things going. Yeah, it was the microtransactions were starting to be a thing, but it felt new. It felt like a good thing they had there. Jacob.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking too, because I was like, that actually kind of
nostalgia.
sent me back nostalgia wise, because I was thinking about Black Ops, seriously, like for Black Ops 2, because that was when I started like like you said, like dipping into the online thing, because I'm like starting to get like middle school, high school, and I'm like, I hear people talking about that all the time. I was like, maybe I'll do that, and I had to work for it to get those like Xbox live passes or whatever. It's like 3 month supply, like every 3 months or something like that, and try to do that. And or like it'd be like, oh, I don't have any for this this month, but next month I'll have some. But then it was just kind of a little intimidating, because you're like online and hear other people talking. You're like, should I speak? Like if I don't know these people, so if I speak, like who are they? And
don't anger the
like,
9-year-olds.
Exactly. Don't want to. Yeah, I was the 9-year-old, or like don't anger the adults. No, but no, Black Ops, that was one of those things where like that was like one of the like talk of the school kind of a thing. It's people would like well, they got more like after I got into high school, people would skip class for like a few days just to play that, and they're like, "Yeah, my mom's fine with it," and I'm just like, "No, my mom's not fine with that."
Nice.
But yeah, Black Ops is definitely one of those ones. And same with Modern Warfare 2. I think Modern Warfare 2. I just liked almost like the realism behind it. Not that Black Ops 2 wasn't, but Black Ops 2 was definitely the multiplayer one.
The next one on that for me, so there are two of them. So Portal 2 was the first game I ever stood in line at a midnight release and to get. It's just because I was old enough to be out that late. You know, I was finally, you know, it was just my decision, and I never had done it before, so I was like, let's do it. So that's why that game kind of has a, you know, special place in my heart. I remember getting the game and then going over to my friend's house, and we stayed up all night playing it till we beat it.
That's crazy.
And you know, because we didn't have school the next day, it was great. We were just like, you know, we'll beat it and then just crash until like noon, and then I'll go home.
Nice.
But the next one was GTA 5. So that game actually came out. You know,
That's
crazy that it's still
wild,
still relevant.
It's
today.
still GTA 5.
Was that
Exactly.
a 360 game?
It was a 360 game.
No kidding.
and PlayStation 3.
I was playing GTA 5 when I finally got Red Ring of Death. I was forced to have to upgrade.
That's
Nice.
crazy.
So, just almost kind of off topic here, but where were you at for the midnight release of the Portal 2? Where did you stand in line for it?
GameStop.
Okay.
Were you there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just thinking the first time I stood in line for a release of a game was Halo 2, back when we still had Sam Goody in the mall.
Sam Goody. Oh.
Dating myself a little bit here.
What's a mall?
For all those of you who don't know, there is no mall anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So, next console, I can just touch really briefly on it, is the Wii. I feel like I played the Wii a lot, but I didn't really have any favorite games necessarily for it. We played a lot of Mario Kart and a lot of Wii bowling. Yeah. So I don't know that I hold any of those like in a real special place, but I just thought maybe we'd touch on the Wii in case you guys had any games that stood out for you.
Yeah, Twilight Princess for me. That's kind of like a big one.
Mm-hmm.
After having a GameCube, I did get it for Wii, but yeah, that was the biggest one.
So I kind of touched, you know, the Tiger Woods 2004 on Xbox. Yeah, the Tiger Woods Wii game was interesting to me because it was the first time you actually had to swing the club.
Oh yeah,
you know, and that game stood out to me for sure.
How many times did you let go? And your
I never let go.
Okay,
nice.
But I do remember playing because it was down in my dad, my stepmom's room, and they had a very low ceiling, right? And I swung the club, and there was a fan right above me, and I hit a light fixture on the fan.
Nice.
And glass just fell around me, and I had glass sticking out of my hand. And my stepmom was just like standing there with
Did you
the
get a
back
hole in one at least?
I don't remember what happened. I had to shut the game off. But she goes, she's standing there holding the laundry basket. Just goes, "Don't move." It just starts picking up all the glass around me, and just sees blood running down my hand. She just like puts a rag over, says, "Come with me."
Nice.
Okay. That's probably it for Wii.
That's a good memory.
Yeah.
Core memory.
It really is.
Exactly. Something you always remember on your hand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to PS4. And possibly my favorite game ever made. And that's God of War Ragnarok.
I would say it's God of War.
Yeah. You could really put both the God of War games together here, the newer ones. But Ragnarok for me, I don't know, just the story is so epic.
It's so good.
And, you know, it had me on the edge of my seat. It was one of those games that I couldn't stop playing it until I finished it. You know, when I had to go to sleep, I could barely wait until I could turn the game back on the next morning just to see what happens next. And that's one that I've gone back and played through a couple times. And, you know, it's kind of hard to describe, you know, when a game just hits you the right way. The characters are so beautifully written. The gameplay is incredibly fun, and there's little bits of the story that you pick up on after you played it the first time that you didn't notice the first couple even. And so that's one for me that I can go back and play endlessly. And there's frustratingly difficult challenges and all sorts of fun stuff that you can do with that one. So it's God of War Ragnarok for PS4.
In the PS4 era, that's kind of where my life kind of started settling a little bit, and so I meeting my now wife, and so I didn't have time to play a lot of single player games. So I found myself playing a lot of multiplayer games, especially with Jacob.
Yeah, we played a lot of we played a lot of PS4.
A lot of PS4. A lot of different Call of Duties and all that stuff.
GTA Online.
GTA Online still, we're going to go two consoles in a row, for that, or for Xbox to PS4 for me. And, it's got to be the game that I still sits in my heart as the most memorable game for me for PS4.
Yeah. Especially just messing around within like the world of open world of GTA. Like that was before too. Like there were microtransactions, but before like those like side businesses in the game where you have different ways to make money. It was just you're just walking around and hopefully people don't blow you up. And then we figured out we can make our own server, so we would do that. But before that, it was just like people flying over and trying to blow you up and stuff. It was a little toxic, but it was good.
I love that though. You said you get nervous when you try to hear people talking, and
you're like
I'm like let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Have a cuss fit with other people. No, I feel like for PS4, a lot of multiplayer. So probably like more Call of Duty. There was, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Single player games.
Is that a Spider-Man for you?
I think it was PS5. I think it's like, because that's like, isn't it Spider-Man PS5? Isn't that kind of like
the
whole niche?
No, that's PS4.
Oh, okay, then they remastered it in PS5. That's probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the Miles game maybe was a launch with the PS5.
Yeah. Spider-Man was a huge one. I really liked that game a lot.
The Arkham series is up there too.
Star Wars was a Jedi, not Survivor.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order wasn't that PS4?
That was PS4. Yeah,
that was
That's solid.
I played that a lot. Yeah, I really liked that.
I played that on yours.
Yeah. So was that like passing the controller, or like you literally played it?
I literally, you just said go ahead and start a new second save file and do your own, because
that's such a fun game, because I liked seeing other parts, especially starting with the Clone Wars, like the tail end of that, and like Order 66. I always wanted a game like that, so I'm glad that they touched on that. But yeah, that was awesome. Really, like that was a game I played a lot.
There was one that I do remember, I forgot, was Squadrons, Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh right.
Yeah.
For me personally, as Jacob knows, I love flying games. Anything that has to do with flying and being like a fighter pilot, that just gets me excited, about playing the game. And so I remember just playing that game. And when I got my PlayStation 5, I forgot that I got it as a disc, and so I couldn't transfer it over from PS4 to PS5.
Nice.
Dang.
And so a little heartbroken there, but
you should buy it again. I'll play it. I have it.
You'll play it.
Yeah.
So I did skip over the PS3 and the Xbox One just because I never owned any of those.
Neither.
Real quick, did you guys have any of those consoles?
I may have had an Xbox One for a little bit. But honestly, it was probably more Call of Duty and Halo. And then when it comes to the PS3, it was really just Kingdom Hearts 2. Because Kingdom Hearts 2, what came out like in 2006. So there was like such a waiting period for, is there going to be a 3? They announced a 3, maybe 2007, and it skipped the PlayStation 3 altogether and went straight to PS4. And that was actually, now that we're talking about it, that was another huge one that I played all the way through. And then like even into the secret levels, kind of what they have for like Kingdom Hearts 3. And now I'm anticipating 4, which is probably going to be another, I don't know how many years, probably.
Nice. So the last console that I have on my list of things that I've owned is the Switch. And for me, it's Tears of the Kingdom, hands down. A lot of good games for the Switch, actually. There's a lot of good games, but Tears of the Kingdom is another one of those games where I almost found myself addicted to just going in and wanting to go through all the different shrines and just try to get as many of the hearts as I could and get all the different costumes and, looking up the guides online just to find all the little Easter eggs here and there to unlock before I even progress with the main story at all. So endless replayability on that game too. Yeah. Tears of the Kingdom's my number one on the Switch.
Animal Crossing. Playing that game I think got me through COVID. I'm not gonna lie. That game I played that thing religiously through COVID because my job became remote basically, and I could get my job done really quickly, and so then I would just chill out. I actually got a Switch Lite just so I could play with my wife, and we both would just play Animal Crossing. Yeah,
that's awesome. I think mine was like one of those, which it was a Pokemon game. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if it was just like a remake of Yellow. I think that's kind of what. It just had a picture of Pikachu on the front.
And there was Eevee. I think you got Pikachu and I got Eevee.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. No, but other than that, it was definitely actually Knights of the Republic because it was like a remastering. I wouldn't say the graphics are insane, but it's definitely a little bit better than probably the original Xbox. But and I still play that. I'll still hop on, and especially if we're doing a plane ride, I just jump on, and if I don't start a new game, I'll just play for wherever I was at last time. But yeah, that's my Switch.
Before we wrap things up here, the PC doesn't necessarily fit in chronological order just because it's always been around. Did you guys have any notable PC games that stick out to you?
Windows 98, the golf game with I had like I had the mouse with the ball where you had to go leg back and then push it forward.
Oh,
that was a fun golf game. My grandpa loved playing that with me because he loves golf. So he would do that.
Counter-Strike.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yep.
So that was probably my introduction to like competitive first-person shooter.
Yeah,
that probably was the first one, wasn't it? Or at least the first really big one.
Yeah, like with the small maps, all against each other.
Mm-hmm.
That objective base. It was just I still play Counter-Strike Go 2 or whatever it's called now.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same now, but it hasn't changed. It's literally the same game, and that's what I love about it. It's, they don't try to push any needle. It's just the same competitive feel game.
Yeah, for me, it's the old school RTS games. It's the original StarCraft, and then Warcraft 3. So I used to play those endlessly, not online. I was terrible trying to play competitive games online, but I just love the story modes on those. Did you guys ever play those?
I didn't.
StarCraft and Warcraft 3, before World of Warcraft ever came out.
It was just Warcraft?
Just Warcraft 3, yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, you played like Civilization, right? Yeah, it's like it's those style of games where you build the army and you have to harvest resources.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Big overview of like the world.
Yeah, you're creating armies and you're trying to wipe out the other armies.
I think one of my uncles plays that.
Yeah. Well, what about the PS5?
I never had a PS5. You guys got some input here.
That's definitely my favorite console so far, though. Yeah. I love how it runs because I was like finally a console that doesn't sound like it's gonna like take off into the air.
Nice.
After you're trying to play a game or something. And then same with the remasters, like everything's in like 60 frames. Granted, there's like PC players that can already do that and have been able to do that for so long. But for console, I don't really have to worry about touching the graphics too much because they kind of just do it for you. But yeah, PS5 has been amazing.
Yeah, for that it's probably got to be a Jedi Survivor. Been my favorite, non-multiplayer game for that console. Just such a clean game. It felt complete. Just playing it. A lot of times you play a game and it doesn't feel complete. And these days that game felt perfect.
No, I agree. I thought yours was going to be GTA though. Three times in a row.
Nice.
3 consoles in a row.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't have a PS5, and I'm probably not going to buy one anytime soon. But the second the new God of War comes out, I'll get a PS5 just for that game.
Just for that one.
Just for that game. That's how much I enjoyed the last one.
Wow. Would it be the third one? Is it?
I don't know how that's going to go because there was the original 2 for the PS2, and then God of War 3 was on the PS3. And so technically the most recent ones are number 4 and 5, but they
Sure.
started over as a new series.
Oh,
So
cool.
I don't know how they're labeling that.
Huh.
But whatever.
Yeah. It's just GOW.
Yeah. All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap things up?
Nah.
I want to
No,
go
I
play
think-
games now.
Yeah. Wanna play games after this?
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for our episode on games. A little rundown nostalgia lane here. But we want to know what you guys thought about our decisions. Do you agree
Tell
with
us.
any of our picks for our top games of the consoles? Did we miss any out? I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
glaring things that we missed off of some of the consoles here. But whatever you guys are thinking, leave that in the comment section down below. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you are listening to any of the audio-only versions, we appreciate a 5-star review. And then other than that, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
See ya.
So